we went conch hunting, and Janine and I were on the boat alone, and it's starting to move out. That was terrifying.
Yeah, we had anchored.
Wait, just one thing. We had a cat with us at that time, and I got a pillowcase, and I put the cat in the pillowcase. I was going to throw it to land if we were going to crash and die. So now you can tell the story.
We had anchored in the exact spot where Christopher Columbus was alleged to have anchored the first night in the New World, and that was a real thrill for me. And we met some of the local people, and one guy invited Basin and I, you and I, to go conch hunting. And I had envisioned that it would be a couple of hours, but we stayed all day, and we got, 5 dozen conch or something like that. We got a lot of conch. But what we didn't realize when we were gone was that the wind had shifted from being in a protective cove, shifted around, and was pushing us into the rocks. And it was so strong that I had 3 anchors out, and they all began to drag. So the boat really was in a dangerous situation. So, let's see, Basin and Janine and Granny and I were aboard.
And Fred.
And Fred the cat. So the next thing was one of the anchor chain broke. It was old and rusty. So that just left 2 anchors dragging. And so we decided we were going to have to sail out. Oh, that was another thing. For that first time, the engine didn't start. There was a mechanical problem, and we couldn't start the engine. So we knew we had to sail out. And we're getting closer to the rocks and closer to the rocks. So we agreed Basin was going to go up in the bow and throw off the anchor lines. Janine and Granny were going to raise the mainsail, and maybe I was going to raise the jib and steer. And so we saw the boat go this way out at the anchor line, and this way at the anchor line. And as soon as it turned, we said, okay, anchors, cut the anchor line, raise the sail, and we got under sail, but very close to the rocks. And I just wanted to get enough speed so that we could tack out. And we did it successfully. And the people on the shore cheered as we sailed away.
But then we had to go someplace and park the boat.
Yeah, not knowing why the engine didn't start, I wanted to tie up right away. So we just sailed out of that little bay and around and into an abandoned marina.
Which was a challenge in getting in there, too.
Yeah, with no engine, and all of a sudden you've got to do all of the work sailing. It was... And I remember another flash of memory is we got into the marina, I went up to the dock and hit the dock. And I was very happy I didn't hit it any harder. And Janine thought we had crashed. That was a terrible crash. And I thought, no, to me it wasn't a crash. It was a gentle little nudge.
A word of advice to you, Basin. Don't relay this story to your wife.
Don't what?
Don't relay this story to your wife. She might not continue to sail with you.
So there we were in the Bahamas with no engine. And so we decided that we would have to sail back to Nassau and see if we could get somebody to get a mechanic to look at the engine. So sailing back with no engine is a real challenge, because the last half mile or so is up a narrow waterway, and the wind was coming the wrong way. and I think we did 21 tacks in a half a mile. But we made it, and it turned out that the problem was the steering column in the cockpit was leaking, and it was dripping down onto the starter motor. And the starter motor had chosen that moment to get rusty and not work. So we had the starter motor replaced, and were able to... So we left there to go home for the last time. That was the end of the trip. But I remember also that a lot of things, the depth sounder stopped working, and
Everything.
some other instruments started working.
One thing at a time was dying.
Yeah, there was gradually, the boat was dying.
And we were probably the last to die. So.
But I remember that it was a greater challenge to navigate and sail without this, and I enjoyed it more. It required 100% of my attention instead of just 95.